On the outskirts of Ghana's biggest city sits a smoldering wasteland. A slum carved into the banks of the Korle Lagoon, one of the most polluted bodies of water on Earth. The locals call it Sodom and Gomorrah. A group of my graduate journalism students from the University of British Columbia have come as part of a global investigation. We're tracking a shadowy industry that's causing big problems here and around the world. Our guide turned out to be a 13-year-old boy named Alex. He says this is the kind of place where kids grow up fast.
How many people sleep there?
Yeah, 30 people.
He offers to take us along on his short walk to work, across the Dead River, to a notorious area called Agbobloshi.
It smells.
What does it smell like?
Here. You see? It smells.
The smell comes from the burning of plastic from old computers and TVs. In the last few years, Agbobloshi has become one of the world's digital dumping grounds, where the West's electronic waste, or e-waste, piles up, hundreds of millions of tons of it each year. The boys scavenge a living from the metal remains.
Look at this. Can't even find the words to describe it. There's no future.
Mike Anane is a local journalist who's been writing about the boys at this e-waste dump.
Life is really difficult, because they eat here surrounded by e-waste, so much burning, a lot of toxic substances, and they basically are here to earn a living. But you can imagine the health implications of having to work here for these children whose bodies are still growing up.
Some of the boys burn old foam on top of computers to melt away the plastic, leaving behind scraps of copper and iron they can collect to sell. The younger boys use magnets from old speakers to gather up the smaller pieces left behind at the burn site.
So your specialty is magnets?
Yes.
Even when the boys take a break, they're surrounded by this stuff. Anane says he also used to play soccer here when he was a kid, but that was when this was pristine wetland. Since then, he's become one of the country's leading environmental journalists.
I'm trying to get some ownership labels. I'm collecting them because you need them as evidence. You need to tell the world where these things are coming from, and you've got to prove it. I believe in proving it.
Yeah.
I believe in documentation. You have to prove it. Now, just look at this.
What's that?
School District of Philadelphia.
Most Americans have no idea their cast-off electronics are being shipped to the other side of the world. When containers of old computers first began arriving in West Africa a few years ago, Ghanaians welcomed what they thought were donations to help bridge the digital divide. But soon a whole shadow economy sprung up around the shipments. Exporters learned to exploit the loopholes by labeling junk computers donations, leaving men like Godson to sort it out.
Yeah. This is where we kept our goods.
He bought this container from one of the shippers and moved it to this lot near the port.
Tell me about this stuff. Where's it from?
Some are from Germany and UK, and also America.
All the way from America, wow.
He sorts through them, looking for working electronics that can be sold.
Tell me about how much works roughly when you get stuff. What's the percentage?
Maybe 50-50. Yeah, it's 50-50.
After it's sorted, a lot of this will be dumped at the burn site outside of town. Hard drives that can be salvaged are displayed at these open-air markets, a benefit for those who can't afford new equipment. But there's a hidden danger. many of these drives still contain the personal data of the original owners. Off camera, Ghanaians admit to us that organized criminals sometimes comb through these drives for personal information to use in scams. So we decided to buy some hard drives of our own to see what's on them, secretly filming the transaction to avoid the seller's suspicions.
How much if I wanted to get one of those?
350.
350?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
That's expensive.
My students take the hard drives to Regent University in the Ghanaian capital and ask computer scientist Ina Kwesi Messiah to help us read them.
Will we be able to see the information on the drive?
Yes.
From just hooking all that up?
Yes, sir.
Just as simple as
Yes,
that?
sir.
Within minutes, he shows us intimate details of people's lives, files left behind by the hard drive's original owners.
Wow.
And we find private financial data too, credit card numbers, account information, records of online transactions the original owners may not have realized were even there.
Yeah, I can get your bank numbers and I retrieve all your money from your accounts.
How does that happen?
It happens through, let's say, backup on the drive. In case you lost your card and I have the number, I can just log into the ATM card and then get every information about you.
So basically you could see anybody's files?
Anybody's file. If ever somebody gets your hard drive, he can get every information about you from the drive. Every information. No matter where it is hidden.
That's particularly a problem in a place like Ghana, which is listed by the U.S. State Department as one of the top sources of cybercrime in the world. And it's not just individuals who are exposed.
Here's one with a $22 million government contract.
After leaving Ghana, the students and I analyzed the drives. We're surprised at what we found when we looked a little deeper.
Authorized for local reproduction, so clearly they don't want this out.
It turns out this drive came from Northrop Grumman, one of America's largest military contractors, and it contains details about sensitive, multi-million-dollar U.S. government contracts.
Here's one with Pentagon, right?
We find contracts with the Defense Intelligence Agency, NASA, even Homeland Security. We show the drives to James Jury, who works on data security for the FBI. He's particularly concerned about the potential breach at the Transportation Security Administration.
The government contracting process is supposed to be confidential. If I know how you're hiring people for security-related job, TSA, air marshals, then I can prepare a person to fit that model and then get my guy in. And once I have my guy in, you have no security.
Dury says that companies like Northrop Grumman may believe they've successfully erased their drives before recycling. But then he shows us the only surefire way to keep the data out of the wrong hands.
And you just start banging on it with stuff. My mind. There you go. I'm guessing after that it's not going to spin up.
Northrop Grumman refused to speak with us on camera. But they did issue a statement saying the potential security threat was disconcerting, and they pledged to investigate.
Why don't we go in the front door? We should go in the front.
Right now, there are no tough U.S. laws regulating the disposal of e-waste, leaving companies and consumers to sort out the claims of recyclers on their own.
Can we bother you 2 secs? We have a couple of monitors we want to get rid of.
We wanted to follow the recycling process ourselves, so wearing a hidden camera, the students drop off some e-waste at this facility on the West Coast. We're assured the e-waste will be disposed of safely and locally.
And what they literally do is they